Welcome to another episode of Band Director Boot Camp, the podcast with productivity and wellness tips for busy band directors. I'm your host, Lesley Moffat, and I'm really grateful to be sharing this platform with you. As busy band directors, we know you don't have lots of time to watch lengthy professional development webinars, so we share 20-minute tidbits with takeaways you can use to support you in this awesome profession, but in a healthier way. And today, I bring to you Eric Combs. He's an 18-year veteran band director from Illinois, where he's the 2020 Illinois Teacher of the Year. He's also an author. Woohoo, go authors. And he teaches in a community that has been recognized as best community for music education 6 times and has been recognized by the United States Congress. Their music program has been recognized twice for excellence as well. So he's probably doing some pretty good stuff out there, I guess, right? And so Eric Combs, thank you for being here with us today.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know everybody's going to want to listen because he's going to tell you guys how he stopped doing lesson planning. Did you hear that? He stopped doing lesson planning. Now you're probably thinking, oh my God, everything fell apart. What a loser. But I just told you, he also was recognized as State Teacher of the Year, and his music community has been recognized for lots of great stuff. So he stopped doing lesson planning, and he says his band's gotten better because now it starts to run itself, and it's given him time to do a whole lot of other things. Listen to this, what else he can do. It's freed him up to do things like start a vlog, write 3 books, share a ton of free materials for other band directors, and go on to become the Teacher of the Year for the state of Illinois through all of these other things he's done, as well as all the cool stuff in his classroom. So he's bringing a wealth of information to us today, and he's going to share some resources that you can get your hands on too. So I'm going to shut up for a minute, Eric Combs, and let you tell us a little bit about your journey, why you're a band director. And then we're going to talk about what you did.
All right. Well, why I'm a band director is I was always the shyest kid in school growing up. I would go through the entire day without saying a word. And I remember in 5th grade, the music teacher from the high school came over and started teaching us how to play recorder. I was really good at it. I fell in love with it. So he had me come up in front of the class and teach the other kids how to play recorder. And it was like the first time in school that I'd ever said anything in front of everybody else. And the kids enjoyed learning from me. They would crowd around me at recess and ask me to show them how to play stuff on the recorder. And then in 6th grade, I just remember feeling this sense of community whenever I played my saxophone for the first time with a group of kids, feeling like I had a conversation with them. And it was the first time I really felt like I fit in anywhere. And I fell in love with it. And I realized when I was 11 that I wanted to teach music. And I teach in that room right now. I've just always loved it. And that's what I decided to do. And I've been loving my career.
Oh my gosh.
So I live in a really small rural town, and we don't really have anybody that teaches private lessons with, unless you go like an hour away to the next town over that has a college in it. Nobody here gets private lessons from anybody but me. I do a lot of teaching before and after school of those things, and we'll get 100 to 140 kids in the program. I am not somebody who likes to go about what we call the conveyor belt approach to teaching, which is give everybody the same information at the same time and just let everybody go at the exact same pace, because that's not the way we learn. So early in my career, I was thinking, what's the best way that I can give all 140 of these kids their own individualized instruction? And I just started coming into work every day 2 hours early to write lesson plans for every single kid, and then trying to take notes on where everybody was. And
wait a minute, we're telling people you're going to tell us how not to do plans. Don't panic, people. It's going to get better.
Yeah. Well, this was wow. 15 years ago, and it wasn't sustainable. I could not continue to do that. So I guess you could say I don't do lesson planning anymore, but it's because 15 years ago, I decided I was going to do all of the lesson planning for the rest of my career up front and just be done with it. And that's what I did. I ended up making a calendar of every single day of 3 years worth of instruction, writing down sequentially what I wanted to do for those days. And I also made the system of instruction going from the day that you hand your instrument to a kid to the day that they're playing about a grade level 4 piece of music, everything that they needed to know, sequenced it out, was able to locate exercises that teach those things very simply. and then put it all into a format where it's 200 points. Kids have to play the points perfectly to pass them off, kind of like recorded karate, only on a 3-year scale. And these are vocabulary, intonation, scales, everything you can think of. And then what I did was I created a humongous Excel workbook that had like 500 books in it for all of the different kids in each different semester, so that I could track them. I could chart their progress, things they were having problems with, things that they were mastering. It generates some charts, some grading, midterms, this kind of thing. And eventually, once I had everything sequenced out for 3 years, and I started doing this program with the kids, I realized that all I had to do anymore was show up to school, open up my computer, and my computer told me where they were and what I needed to give them next. And so that's what I do anymore. It was a ton of work up front. It took years to get this done. It took years of coming in a couple hours early every day. And I always said that I was getting it done then so that I wouldn't have to do it now. And that's what's happened. And I have found that I kind of got it done then so that other people don't have to do it now either. I ended up starting a blog, Thoughts from a Beginning Band Director, and posting some of the stuff there. And eventually I've lost track after 750 people have gotten a hold of me saying they're using this because I put it in book form. And another thing that's come about with it is not only have people been able to have more time at home and less time planning because everything's planned up front. Also, I'm finding that people are saying that their kids are a lot better sight readers because of it, because it really forces the kids to master what they're doing before they go on to the next concept. Instead of just letting a kid fail at something and then saying, okay, we're done. Everybody's moving along now. If you don't build that foundation, the kids are going to be lost from there on out. So it lets people work at their own paces.
Wow. That's really cool. Really cool. Tell us a little bit about some of the other things you've written. You said you have a blog. What kinds of things you share on there?
Yeah, so teaching tips, stories about the last 18 years of teaching. Really anything that comes to mind when I'm at school, I'll put blog posts about it. One thing that we're talking about productivity here. One thing that I do that I've written about is right at the very beginning of my career, I was so overwhelmed about the number of things that we have to do as band directors. And I was finding that I was always late on it. And then I never had time. And I was always in a hurry trying to catch up and get everything done, whether that's bus requests or making a program or a new seating chart or whatever. So then the next year I had this idea. I just made myself a blank calendar that it just said January, and it had 5 weeks with no numbers in it. So you can use it in any year. And anytime that anything came up that I had to do, I just went in there and I penciled it in, wrote it in there. And I ended up through the course of the year writing every single little administrative task that I had to do. And then I took that for the next year and I moved everything back 2 weeks. And I followed that. And I had the best year that year because I was 2 weeks ahead on everything. And I've kept that document since then. About 15 years I've had that document. Anything new comes, I write it in there, but I am always ahead. And if I find that I have a little bit of free time, I don't waste it. I'm like, okay, 2 weeks from now, this has to be done, and I get it done. And combine that with having my lesson plans and everything else done. That's how I'm able to write the 3 books. One of them's on beginner band camp and like the first couple of weeks of instruction. And I've also, I've written, I'm a software engineer. So I have a free marching band drill design software that's out there. It's 3D, prints out drill charts. That's called Quick Charts. And I don't know, my wife is a band director too. So
my gosh.
So a lot of the stuff that I do is to help her out. That's why I wrote drill writing software.
Dang, keeping it in the family. There's a lot out there. And I have a few more questions I want to ask. But before I do, I'm going to invite our listeners to take a minute and think about how you can put some of these practices that we talk about on the various podcast episodes into practice in your own life. Welcome, Band Director Bootcamp listeners. If you're feeling a bit burnt out and are ready for support and accountability partners in your wellness and productivity, we have an amazing opportunity for you. Join our 90-day virtual boot camp, a community initiative designed for busy band directors like you who love their job but seek a more sustainable approach. We'll meet weekly, discuss your wellness goals, and develop strategies to help you achieve them. We'll tackle productivity hacks and fine-tune systems for the upcoming school year. With 35 years of experience, I've got some tricks and tips up my sleeve that I can't wait to share. So, as we move into a new season of our lives, if you want to feel empowered and supported by like-minded individuals, this is your chance. Reach out to me at banddirectorbootcamp.com or click on the link in our show notes to schedule a 15-minute call. Let's ensure this is the right fit for you, get you signed up, and embark on this wellness journey together. Because together, we rise. All right, we are back here with Eric Combs. He was just telling us about some of the systems he's designed. And my God, I was so tired listening to you talk about going in a couple hours early to work and blah, blah, blah. But what your message here is you made an investment, a really solid investment in getting your processes down at the beginning of your teaching career. And you've just refined them as you've gone on. And that's goes with what you're talking about, because you're talking about teaching students to really get their foundational skills built first before they go on. And you've created a method to teach other people to do that. So I see why you're so good at this, because you've done this. You know, I've heard other people talk about the calendar thing. I thought, I know where he's going with this, where you write it down and then next year you'll know. I've never heard anybody say, I dialed it back 2 weeks. That's the magic. That's the magic right there. So you're full of good stuff. Talk to us a little bit about your banddirectorshare.com page, what people will find there, and any place else they can find you and other resources, because I know a lot of folks are just hearing a little bit and going, wait, I want to know more. And in this podcast, we just give you the little bit so those of you who want to investigate it can. So I need you, Eric, to tell us where we can find out more about your stuff and more about you.
Sure. Pretty much everything I have is on www.banddirectorshare.com. That is a website that I designed where band directors all over the world can share free materials. So if number one, if you have some stuff that you'd like to share, get a hold of me on there and I can put it on. Number two, you can go there and you can find the drill writing software, the 3 books that I wrote. There's some other people who have written books that are on there too. Free method books, free songs from some great composers, flashcards, videos that people have made on how to teach different topics. So if you would like to see any of those things, go to banddirectorshare.com and under the contributors tab, just search for Eric Combs.
That is huge. The resources, I've been teaching for a few years now and things have changed so much from, we had to figure it all out at the beginning. So we have a couple minutes left here. If, a beginning teacher now is going, oh, great, I only have to go into school 2 hours early every day for the first few years of my life. If I live that long, what will I do next? What would you say, to a newer teacher coming out of the gates, to set them up for success like this? What, maybe give them a couple resources to start with or ideas that might help them have the kind of solid success you've met with?
Number one would be to network and find some mentors. I always say it's great to talk to the person that was in your job last, find out the way that things were done. Kids don't like change a whole lot, so go at it slowly. You can take some of those traditions that they already have and integrate them, and then it slowly change those over time, and it's easier for the kids. Number two would be get out there and go to some other programs and see what's going on there. One of the issues we have as teachers is we're always in our own classroom. For 30 years, we're in our own classroom. We don't see how it's done other places. Most schools and most administrators are going to be happy with letting you take a couple of days and go observe other people. What I did was I figured out with some research what I felt was the best middle school program in the state of Illinois, which happened to be 6 hours away, and just went up there. I've gone up there a couple of times, spent the day with the teacher talking about their program and their curriculum. And I have learned more in those 2 days than I probably did in the entirety of college. Just
all the professional development added up, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's finding somebody who does it well and sitting in with them and seeing what they do and then picking their brain about it.
Yeah.
No, that would be my biggest advice.
Yeah, I remember one thing I often would do that was really telling with me was swapping jobs for a day with the feeder or the high school program with the program where we'd been. And that was a really good way too, to learn, more about the program and where the kids are coming from and going to. And they don't give you any, monkey business if you're the feeder program or because you come in like that. And that's a really fun way, I think, for, getting to learn other programs too. I hear your mentorship piece. We hear that a lot. And I think too often we come out of college like, I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do it better than everybody. I got to get my nose down. But man, we music teachers, we love to share stuff, right? We are where we are because people shared with us and took the time.
Yeah. And along those lines, I don't know how other subjects are as far as this goes. But when I talk to people, it sounds like band directors are closer knit than other subject areas, especially at our MEA conferences, Midwest. Seems like we all know each other. And I would recommend finding some Facebook groups, the ones I'm on, or the band directors Facebook group, middle school band directors.
That's a great one.
Yeah. And it's a good
band director boot camp Facebook group. I'm just going to put a plug in for that too.
It's a good place to go and ask questions and get some answers. And also, I think people have gotten a lot better over the last couple of years of going, not to complain, but to give some advice, put some videos in. And I like seeing that kind of thing. So that's a good place to build a network, get some connections, and also have a place to ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Band directors are a pretty awesome group of folks. I just got to go to Women's Band Director International Conference this past week, and it's so cool. I've never been surrounded by just women band directors. That was a whole new experience, and I've done this 35 years, so I'm still out there meeting new mentors, meeting new people and stuff. So great advice. Amazing resources you have put out there, and so generously so. So I'm going to encourage everybody who's listening today to go check out Eric's stuff, and we'll put links in the show notes for you to make it convenient. But thank you, Eric, for coming here today and sharing your expertise and so much of what you've learned.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks to everybody out there listening for all the things you do every day to make a difference in kids' lives through the magic of music education. The work you do matters, and so do you. Join us next time on Band Director Boot Camp for more productivity and wellness tips to help you make your life a little easier.